Hey, look at these photos. At first glance, they're completely different. But there's something mysterious they have in common. Just one small detail that has been puzzling historians worldwide for years. It all started in the Russian Empire over 100 years ago. Photography was already a thing back then, so there was nothing special in someone taking pictures of various historical buildings. Many of them were later used to make postcards and posters, and nobody said a word that there was something strange about them. Everything was quiet until very recently. A group of researchers from the city of Krasnoyarsk in Siberia noticed a small figure standing in some 20 photos of the local buildings. In some of them, it was almost invisible against the background, while in others, it made a more obvious appearance. Researchers decided to investigate it, and soon they managed to improve the quality of the picture so much that the figure became quite detailed. It was a girl of about 10 years, always appearing in the same clothes and standing in the same posture in every single photo. She's wearing a white overcoat, a broad-brimmed hat, and boasting a long braid that's always resting over her left shoulder. But the most surprising, if not sinister, feature of hers is that she's never smiling. It could be nothing special, just a series of photos from a family archive. But at the beginning of the 20th century, photography was still an expensive hobby, and only the wealthy could afford to take it up. The girl's clothes suggest as much. She's dressed as a little lady, and both her hat and umbrella she clutches in her hands are accessories typical for the upper class of the time. Now, Russian aristocrats were usually well known, appearing at social functions and making names for themselves among the elite. That's why you can generally find information about any of them if you dig deep enough. But strangely, there's nothing to be found about the girl, or for that matter, about the person who had taken these photos of her. In 2016, researchers who found her addressed the global community to help identify the girl. Since she obviously had a wealthy background, it might be that she and her parents escaped the Russian Empire when things started getting tough for monarchists. Many of them used their money and connections to flee to Europe and the USA. So chances were somebody from those parts of the world would recognize the girl. Yet no one did. Dubbed the Phantom Girl for her mysterious story and ghostly appearance, she continued to haunt the historians worldwide. To make matters worse, most of the photos were anonymous, with just a few of them bearing cryptic initials FEA. Researchers dug through the archives but couldn't find anyone who would qualify as their owner. The most popular theory suggested the girl was the photographer's daughter, since she appeared in so many pictures. It was also believed at first that all the photos were taken on the same day, because the Phantom Girl wore the same clothes and accessories. Later, though, this part was debunked. If you look closer, you'll see she wears different stockings and shoes on many shots. So, this means she couldn't have been photographed in a single day. But if it was their daughter the enigmatic photographer captured, why did they make her look so insignificant? Nobody noticed the girl before the high-quality pictures were developed because she was extremely small against the grand backgrounds. The photographer obviously tried to capture the buildings, not their daughter. In some of the shots, she's all but invisible, in fact. Not a few show her closer to the center, but even then, she's clearly not the focus of attention. Some explain this simply. Photography was a luxury, and to take a single picture back then, you had to stay still for quite some time. So instead of taking various close-up shots of their daughter, like many of us would do today, the photographer decided to capture the surroundings to the biggest extent possible. Many questions were raised as to the girl's facial expression and posture, too. She's always glaring at the camera with a gloomy face, and her position is always the same: back straight, head slightly bent forward, hands holding the umbrella propped on the ground. In the English tradition, photographers asked people to say the word prune instead of cheese to make their faces look serious and regal. Smiling in photos became a trend much later. But in the Russian Empire, people quite often smiled, especially children. So seeing a 10-year-old girl with such an intense stare is rather unnerving. One more weird thing is that she doesn't seem to age at all. Researchers are pretty sure the pictures were taken in the period from 1906 to 1908. So, 2 or 3 years might have passed between some of the shots. Kids grow rather fast at this age, but the Phantom Girl had only slightly changed her style, while the rest of her looks remained the same. The only visible answer is that the photos were taken in a much shorter period. Some went so far as to suggest she wasn't even real. A young girl dressed in white and with no name, never the centerpiece of any picture, a real phantom. Maybe she was indeed a ghost haunting the mysterious photographer. But no, at least her changing part of her clothes speaks against that. Few, if any ghosts, display a wide-ranging wardrobe. Also, the girl is sometimes next to other children. In one photograph, she's touching shoulders with a boy, and there are 3 other poor-looking kids nearby, all staring at the camera with the same grim expression. In another, there's a girl in a white cape who turns her head towards the Phantom Girl. She must have turned when the shot was being taken, because her face is smudged. The gloomy girl herself, though, pays no attention to her neighbor. And one last question that remains is what happened to the girl and her photographer? The pictures were clearly once part of a single collection, but when they were found and pieced together, they came from radically different sources. Some were donated by a private collector, while others were kept in various archives and collections. It's also difficult to pinpoint the original source because these photos were made popular in the 20th century. They were printed on postcards presenting the city of Krasnoyarsk and made good posters of local landmarks. With such a wide distribution and lack of clear copyright law, it was near impossible to say where the pictures first came from. And even today, after years of searching, there still isn't a single clue as to the enigmatic Phantom Girl's origins. People from all over the world have joined the investigation, but no one's got any knowledge about her or her family. Think about it. Maybe you will be the first to shed some light on this wonderful mystery.
10 photos that can scare anyone. The paranormal has always been interesting for both skeptics and romantics. Some people believe in the supernatural and others don't. But sometimes simple photographs turn out to be very surprising, spooky, and even terrifying. Here are 10 strange photos, many of which cannot be explained. Can you imagine taking a happy photo and then later find out that there's a ghost behind you or even right next to you? People in these photos experience that, but maybe you'll be able to solve some of these mysteries. Let's find out. Number 10. The Cooper photograph. The Cooper family mystery is still unsolved. The photo, which captures the mother and the grandmother of the Cooper family with 2 kids, was taken during a celebration in their new house in Texas. At the moment the photograph was taken, the family didn't see anything unusual. But when the photo was developed, they saw someone falling or hanging from the ceiling. Quite a scary discovery, isn't it? Number 9. Scary commercial. A couple of years ago, a strange video emerged on the internet. In the clip, you could see a woman standing alone in the room when suddenly a chair started moving on its own. As the terrified woman tried to escape out of the room, tables and chairs blocked her way to the exit door. This video got millions of views and provoked a serious debate. Was it an earthquake or a poltergeist? In fact, the answer turned out to be much more simple. It was just a commercial for the Malaysian movie Bangunan. Number 8. The Brown Lady. This is one of the most famous and controversial ghost pictures. It was first revealed in Country Life magazine in 1936. It is believed that in this photo we see Dorothy Walpole, also known as Brown Lady because of the brown dress she apparently wears. Her husband suspected her of cheating and imprisoned her in Raynham Hall for life. After Dorothy's death, there have been numerous reports of seeing her ghost. Some critics consider this picture to be fake. However, there is still no proof for such suggestions. Number 7. Dancing Demon. This photo made many sensitive people scared. It was taken from a viewing monitor in the nursery's room. The legend says that it was a demon standing on top of the patient who died a few hours after this picture appeared. Seriously, you can clearly see a dancing demon on the patient's bed, right? It turns out that it was nothing more than just an illusion. What looks like the demon's leg is the patient's leg. The hip is the bed handrail, and the head with the upper part of the body is a bunch of medical waste. Our imagination can sometimes play quite a trick on us. Number 6. Faces in the Water. This picture was taken on the oil tanker SS Watertown in 1924. It sailed from California to New York. On the way, 2 members of the crew, James Courtney and Michael Meehan, died tragically. After the service, the captain decided to bury them at sea. So you can probably imagine the horror when the next day, the crew saw their faces in the water right next to the ship. There are many theories about these haunting faces, but there is not even a single piece of proof. Number 5. UFO. This photo was taken in 1962, and nobody has managed to prove that it's fake. In 1978, the Central Intelligence Agency declassified hundreds of documents concerning unidentified flying objects. This photo was published among other materials. To this day, there are multiple witnesses of UFOs all over the world and numerous stories about aliens. So who knows? Maybe they are true. What do you think? Leave your points of view in the comments. Number 4. Ghost in the Back Seat. This photo was taken by Mabel Chinnery in 1959. She and her husband were going to visit her mother in the cemetery, and Mabel wanted to take a picture of her husband in the car. After she printed the photo, she saw her mother in the back seat. One of the experts who had examined this picture claimed that it's completely genuine. On the same year, the mysterious photo was printed on the pages of Parade magazine. There are various theories and assumptions about this strange incident, but the truth is still unknown. Number 3. Stranger in the aircraft. This photo was taken on a military fleet base in Somerset, England in 1987. The woman was alone, but later she said she had been quite cold despite warm weather that day. She found someone else sitting next to her in this picture. There is still no solid proof whether this photo is real or fake. It could have been just a trick of the light, but it still looks rather spooky. Number 2. Ghost in the church. This photo is considered to be one of the creepiest supernatural pictures. A priest took a picture of the altar at Newby Church in North Yorkshire, England. He later confessed that he didn't see anything special while taking the photo, but you can clearly see a frightening ghost. There were many speculations and even quite a controversy surrounding this photo, but research has shown that it is real and hasn't been altered. Number 1. Scary Japanese girl. Many people said that this photo was taken during a paranormal show in Japan. The strange angle of the woman's head and the expression on her face scared a lot of people and provoked debates on many forums dedicated to paranormal things. However, as the picture started to become more and more popular on the internet, it turned out to be fake. The real video was found where it is clear that the girl just smiled for the camera. Which one of these pictures terrified you the most? Tell us in the comments below.
Hey, thanks for clicking on me. If you've never toyed around with Google Earth, whether for fun or strictly educational purposes, then you've been missing out. So you're the one. There are so many cool and bizarre things you can see from satellite images that you probably wouldn't catch if you didn't have a bird's eye view. Famous sights, weird symbols, Batman's secret hideout. Wait, what? Yeah, you heard right. Keep watching for that and more. Alright, here we go. Number 1. Airplane Graveyard in Tucson, Arizona. You ever wonder what happens when airplanes get pulled out of use? Well, they have to go somewhere, right? Would you have guessed that there are actual cemeteries for them? They don't get buried like people or anything. Aircraft no longer in use just get sent to a special storage facility where they're left until their parts can be salvaged or reused later on. And the airplane graveyard in Tucson, Arizona is by far the largest in the world. If you can easily see it from space, that says a lot. Number 2. Overgrown shipwreck in Sydney, Australia. The SS Irefield in Sydney's Homebush Bay is a reminder that this place used to be a major trading port. It was built in 1911 and managed to survive its days as a supply ship during the Second World War. But in the end, it was decommissioned and left abandoned in the port. Curiously enough, nature took the freighter under its wing, and the old rusty ship is now home to dozens of bushy trees that can even be seen from satellite. Number 3. Island in a lake on an island in a lake, northern Canada. Canada's Victoria Island lives within a lake, and there's a lake on Victoria Island with another island on it. Feeling confused yet? You should be, because that's exactly what the situation is. I'm kinda dizzy now. Number 4. The Badlands Guardian in Alberta, Canada. Do you see a human face in the lay of these lands? You most certainly do, because there is one. But the thing is, it's not human-made. The head of the Badlands Guardian is a natural earth formation, or at least scientists say so. Gives a whole new meaning to the "hills have eyes." Number 5. Osmington Whitehorse in Sutton Points, UK. No, this isn't land art. It's an early 19th century sculpture carved into the white chalk of the hillside. The act of cutting white horses out of hills actually has its own specific name, leucopotamy. Well, now you know. Number 6. Potash Ponds in Moab, Utah. The last thing you'd expect to see in the yellowish-red landscapes of Utah is a bright blue spot that instantly catches your eye. These are actually potash ponds, and they do look surreal to say the least. Number 7. The Whampoa boat-shaped shopping center in Kowloon, Hong Kong. Looking at this place from above, you might start thinking what a giant tsunami it must have been to throw such a large ship so far ashore. Worry not though, it's just a shopping center in Hong Kong. It is, however, kind of a local hotspot. So, if you happen to find yourself in Kowloon, be sure to visit this boat. Number 8. A big friendly giant in the Acama Desert, Chile. Chile and Peru are famous for their geographs that date back more than 1,000 years. This particular giant is a sight to behold indeed. It's the largest human-like figure in the world. Scientists believe it was a drawing of some deity of that time. Looks kinda like a cat person to me. Number 9. Hippo Pool in Tanzania. Ever wondered what a pool full of hippos looks like? Well, here you go. Google Earth is actually full of little treats like this, showing different animals photographed from above. But these hippos do look adorable when they're so tiny, like little hippo beans. Just don't get too close up. Number 10. The Desert Lips in Sudan. Here's another totally natural formation that looks like it was made by humans. This time, it's a pair of lips right in the desert. Some have called this phenomenon the smiling Earth. Probably too small in proportion to the overall size of our planet, but still pretty cool. Number 11. The Batman symbol in Okinawa, Japan. The big secret is finally revealed. Batman lives in Japan. Who would have thought that Bruce Wayne would wander so far from his dear Gotham? Hey, who said the Dark Knight can't have some properties abroad? Number 12. Otherworldly art in Egypt. What looks like something you'd see in some alien conspiracy documentary is, in fact, just an art installation made in 1997. The three artists called their work Desert Breath, and it's actually still visible, although it's been pretty badly damaged by weather conditions. Number 13. The Coca-Cola logo in Chile. Chilean Coca-Cola marketing experts took 70,000 empty Coke bottles to write the company's logo in the side of a hill. And yes, as the world's largest of its kind, it is visible from space. In fact, it's part of a bigger trend called mapvertising, where different companies do similar stuff. They lay out their logos or trademarks on the ground, creating huge images that are easily seen from satellite. Well, go big or go home, I guess. Number 14. The White Lion in Whipsnade, UK. No, it's not an ancient geoglyph, not unless you count 1933 as ancient history. Well, maybe to some. But this thing sure looks impressive. The white lion also serves a practical purpose. Its head points to the position of the Whipsnade National Park. Fun fact, the lion is home to cavies and wallabies that jump all across its body. So much for a fierce savanna hunter, huh? Number 15. A giant target in Nevada. There had been many rumors about the origins and purpose of this huge concrete structure found in the Nevada desert, with some believing it was a marking for a secret military base. The most recent theory, though, suggests that there are several such markings all over the U.S., and they're relics of the 1950s and 60s, when these targets were used as calibration marks for aerial photos. Kinda makes sense. Number 16. The world's biggest fingerprint in Sussex, UK. Looking at this, you can't help but wonder if some giant took its finger and poked the planet right on this spot. All jokes aside, this particular structure is a maze located in Hove Park in the UK. So, if you want to trace someone's fingerprint, with your own feet mind you, this is the place to go. Number 17. The Mirny Mine in Siberia, Russia. The Mirny Mine is a human-made construction, or I guess deconstruction, that's impressive to look at from above. It's one of the largest artificial holes in the world, made to dig out diamonds. Siberia is well known for its diamond deposits, so it's only natural that such a huge mine should be excavated here. Nothing mysterious, just a sincere wow from above. And while we're on the subject of holes, number 18. Graffiti in a volcanic crater, Mexico. Ever wanted your signature to be seen from space? Well, it seems you can make your dream come true in this magical crater. Google Earth shows every piece of graffiti in this crater in detail, which means you can actually see them all from a bird's eye view. In case you're wondering, this site is located in Sierra Preto, Baja California, Mexico. By the way, the huge bird image isn't any form of ancient land art vandalized by tourists. It's also quite a recent development. Perhaps someone just decided to make the whole scene more artistic. So, Brightsiders, have you ever found anything unusual, funny, or mysterious in your map searches? Leave them in the comments below.